Today I thought it would be an amazing idea to read 1-star reviews on my favorite books. And this is how it went. My heart kind of hurts, I'm not gonna lie. What do you mean nothing happened? I don't agree with you, sir. Just barf. Being a little dramatic. Oh. What the heck? Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Gianna Lian and I basically just bring you along throughout my life. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. Basically, I'm reading 1-star reviews of some of my favorite books. Now, I'm actually quite nervous to make this video because obviously these are my opinions, these are some of my favorite books. So just a little disclaimer that you might not agree with everything I say, and that's okay. I'm just stating my opinion. And I'm honestly curious to see why some people didn't like these books as much as I did, because that's the thing I love about books is that everyone interprets a story differently, and I find that so interesting. So I'm basically just gonna read some reviews, see if I agree, if I don't agree, if I can see kind of where they're coming from. I have over 10 books to discuss and I'm so excited to dive into these reviews. I'm also going to put each book cover on the screen right here so you guys know what books I'm kind of talking about. Okay, so the first book that we're going to start off with is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is actually one of the first books I read starting my reading journey again. I obviously had to include this into it because it still is one of my favorite books. So if I'm looking down, it's because my computer is on my lap. Let's go into this girl's review. She says, "Wow, that was awful. She might as well have beaten you over the head with a mallet as introduce her themes. This book is the stuff that gives chick lit a bad name." Okay. Moving on. Wow, that one's long. "I deeply disliked just about everything this book served up. The concept was interesting, but the execution was so ham-fisted and repetitive I wanted to scream. One of the absolute worst examples of telling not showing that I have ever encountered. Characters are really caricatures. I admit to skimming a great deal of the second half of the book and was amused at the ridiculous secret Evelyn was hiding from Monique." I'm trying to keep this spoiler free. I do kind of see what this person is saying. The book did feel repetitive at times, but I don't know because I still really enjoyed it even though some parts were competitive or dragged out a little bit. But in my opinion, I felt like the characters had like so much depth to them. Like, I felt like I really knew each character. I don't know if I agree with that part of the review. With what this person said at the end, I definitely do think that that big secret was kind of a lot. I wasn't expecting that, and I didn't really like that part of the book either. So I kind of see where they're coming from there. Okay, I can't really say that. This book is hard to review because it deals with so many like touchy subjects. Okay, this one's a little lengthy. This will be the last review I read for this one. "Thank God this is over." That's how we started this review off. "This was so bad, I'm actually angry I picked this up. God knows why everyone seemed to love it. This book is nothing but a recollection of dysfunctional, toxic, and abusive relationships." I do agree with that. I'm not gonna say that part. "I just cannot understand why people like this. Genuinely not. Evelyn is a bad and hard ass, does everything to get what she wants, which was nice from time to time, but honestly, that isn't someone you actually want to know." That's true. Evelyn was a very raw character. She had no filter at all. She really didn't hold back at all. But that was also a part of the plot. She specifically said, like, people are gonna hate me, people are not gonna forgive me, and stuff like that. So it's kind of a given, if that makes sense. I don't know if I agree with that. I can kind of see where some people are coming from, so I don't know. I still love the book, and we're just gonna move on to the next one. The next one I have is Better Than the Movies. I recently actually just read this. I mentioned it in my September wrap-up. If you guys have not watched that already, you guys should definitely go do that. I'll have it linked down below in the description as always. I feel like I'm gonna agree with a lot of these reviews. Okay, starting off with the first review I see at the top of the page. "I'm out really early on this one. A couple chapters in and I just can't. Liz is naive to the point of idiocy. She's a senior in high school, so 17, 18, but she comes across as years younger. Like she's expecting anything in real life to be like in the rom-coms she loves, really? And I don't mean simply that she's romantic or sees things too rosy because that'd be actually possible. I mean, she literally thinks she just had a meet cute and insists on referring to it as such." That was one of their paragraphs from their reviews. But I do agree with that. Liz was so oblivious the whole book, and it honestly pissed me off. It was so annoying. I mentioned that in my review. Okay, this one sounds funny. They're talking about Liz, the main character. "She dresses weird, she's delusional, she has extreme mommy issues, the weird as kid who wrote songs and I don't know." Her friend is the only sane person here for saying, I can't talk to you when you're being delusional. So true. Exactly what I would do. She's delusional. Dresses for a meet cute every day. She's so, oh my god, she's too much. She spreads a rumor about herself, which, oh my god, by the way, so forced. Things out for herself because she has 0 brain cells. This person had a lot to say. I really enjoyed this book because of the plot and because of mainly Wes, to be honest. But I agree with that. I hated Liz. Liz was so annoying. She honestly ruined the book. She was the reason I didn't give this book a 5 stars. Just putting it out there. Yeah, all of these 1-star reviews are basically hating on Liz, which I completely agree with. This person says, I'm shocked by all the good reviews on this book. Liz is honestly so annoying and stubborn. If she would just express anything she was feeling, she wouldn't be such a bad friend or daughter. Ooh. Ooh. Pushing the daughter card. She's extremely self-centered and cliche. True. Everyone in her life deserved better. The writing was pretty okay, but Liz was just so awful, I'm surprised I finished this. Also, why was she shamed and called out for eating burgers and eating fast? That's actually true. I do agree with that. But back to the writing, I actually really did enjoy Lynn Painter's writing, so I don't necessarily agree with that. But it's also like a teen romance, so I don't expect the writing to be so mature. I actually really did enjoy it. But moving on to the next book, I feel like we're gonna leave Better Than the Movies alone because there's a lot of Liz Buxton hate going on. The next book I'm gonna talk about, I feel like we have a lot of angry reviews, and it's Every Summer After. I read this back in August and I rated this a 5 stars. I absolutely fell in love with it, but then again, I have not read Love in Other Words. I don't know if I would love Every Summer After if I did read Love in Other Words, but I rated it a 5 stars, so I'm excited to see what people have to say. The first review at the very top says, so because this was going to be a solid 4-star read until that damn plot twist happened, which I saw coming and ruined frickin' everything. I didn't mind the plot twist, to be honest. I did guess it, like it was very predictable, but I didn't mind it. Like I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. I feel like it contributed to the book, if that makes sense. So I don't know, like I didn't hate it. This person said, I don't think I ever despised a main character more. I'm trying to remember if I liked her. I definitely didn't like her towards the end because of what happened, but I liked her throughout the rest of the book. Like, I didn't hate her. I definitely hated main characters more, if I'm being honest. Okay, and then this one says, literally Love in Other Words, basically a reverse version, both actual horrible behavior from Percy and just horrible execution. I did not enjoy this, sorry. So yeah. Oh, this person said atrociously boring, to be honest. I didn't find it boring at all. I literally breezed through this book. I literally read it so fast because I personally enjoyed it so much. So I don't think it's boring, but to each their own. Anyways, okay. I know I'm reading some of my favorite book reviews, but this one I just had to throw in there because I'm curious to see if other people agree with me, but I absolutely despised this book. I know a lot of people love it, and I'm sorry. I hated it. I wanted to like it so bad too. The Sweetest Oblivion, the first one, the Man-Made series. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, I mostly read this because my name's in the book. I know that sounds kind of bad, but like that is the main reason why I picked up this book. Anyways, we're gonna read some 1-star reviews because I'll probably agree with them. This book was just bad. The writing was terrible, the plot was boring, the characters were unlikable, and most importantly, the MCs were just not a ship. Elena and Nico's relationship was all lust. They had 0 chemistry, no banter, no nothing. I don't even remember them having an actual conversation, but Nico was just like, she's mine. And we were supposed to ship? No thank you. I could have liked the book despite this if the plot was interesting, but no, the plot was so dry. That perfectly sums up the whole entire book. This review right here. I completely agree with that. I also like this one. What the did I just read? This was painful to get through. It honestly was. I remember reading this and I was so close to DNFing it, but I hate DNFing books, so I couldn't. But I literally was this close to DNFing the book. I'm not even kidding. So I'm sorry if this is one of your guys' favorite books, but anyways, now that we got that out of the way, we're moving on to The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book in the series. I really enjoyed the first one. I rated it 5 stars. The second 2 books, we're not going to talk about those ones because I did not like them. Someone said, I lost an abundance of brain cells reading this. It honestly was super childish and cringy. It was a perfect read for summer, okay? I was living my summer era and I was reading it on the beach. It was perfect. This one's an interesting one. They've numbered points. Number 1, If my parents nicknamed me Belly, I would disown myself from the family. Okay. Number 2, the love web and confessions made me want to repeatedly smash my head against the wall. That is facts. Number 3, I'm Team Cam, not for Belly. She doesn't deserve him. And if you're Team Conrad or Jeremiah, maybe you need to self-reflect. No. Team Conrad forever, in my opinion. I'm just not gonna go any more into that because it's just Team Conrad forever. Period, point blank. Another person said, first of all, the writing isn't that great. It reminds me of a cringy Wattpad book and I hated it. I do agree with some parts of that, but then again, like, I still really enjoyed the writing. I don't think it's like Wattpad level. I don't think it's as bad as some of the books I've read on Wattpad, but it's definitely not the best. Second of all, her name is Isabella. Like, how pretty is it? And she chooses Belly. Like, WTF is Belly. Agreed. And then all the stereotypes, the different brothers, the temper tantrums, the acting like a 5-year-old when you're a teenager, this book was not it. I did find Belly extremely immature and annoying considering her back and forth so much and her not even knowing what she wanted, but overall, I still really enjoyed the book. Maybe it's just because I read it in the summer, I was enjoying the vibes. I don't know. The next book actually isn't very known, but it's one of my favorite books that I've ever read. It's What I Lost. You guys probably don't really know it, but I highly recommend it to you all. It basically deals with eating disorders and this one girl recovering from it. This person said, wouldn't recommend for people who suffer from anorexia or in general an eating disorder because it was very triggering. Personally, I didn't find it that triggering, but I definitely can see why it would be for a lot of people. It does deal with so many heavy subjects, and I felt like the descriptions were so realistic that it definitely could be triggering for so many reasons. Another person said, no romance. Why? There was no story. I did not make through this book. I got bored. Fair enough. I don't know. I wasn't really bored. If I'm being honest with you, I don't really remember the ending because I read it so long ago. I didn't find it boring. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know. It's still one of my favorite books. At least the book didn't get too much hate like the other ones. The next book I have is probably my second favorite book that I've read this year. It is Monday's Not Coming. I haven't seen that much hype around this book, to be honest, but I personally loved it. Okay, so this person said, if you think this is appropriate material for a 14-year-old, you shouldn't be raising children. I do agree with this because this is a teen book, like a YA novel. It dealt with a lot of very gruesome topics. When I was reading it, I was shocked because I was not expecting that much detail and that much darkness in the book. With the plot, it's kind of given, but at the same time, I was not expecting it to go into that detail. I was not expecting the outcome. I was not expecting all that. Honestly, this book almost made me cry because it was so heart-wrenching. So I do agree with that. It definitely should be aged differently. This person says, I really hated this book for more reasons that I can count. The MC can't seem to ask the right questions, lets everything go like it isn't a big deal. When she finally has the chance to say something, she doesn't. I was left angry after reading, even before I finished it. I don't really know what to say about this review. I definitely think the whole investigation was dragged out, but I didn't hate the main character for it. I don't know. I just really liked it. And the last one says, I really hated it. Unrealistic and way too much fluff just to make the story drag along. Very boring read. So I do think that some of it was unrealistic, especially the ending. To be honest, I was kind of confused in the ending, but that's besides the point. I do think that some of it was unrealistic for sure, but I definitely don't think that it was boring. The next book I have is Verity. This one is a very popular one, and I definitely think we're gonna have lots of controversial opinions on it, but I rated this a 5-star. The first review that I see is, what bullshit, with 2 exclamation marks. Get it, I guess. What the heck? Anyways, moving on. This person says, this was so stupid. I don't even know how to talk about this. I don't think this is actual mystery thriller. It is just a romance novel with a slightly different plot. Sadly, nothing about this book particularly impressed me or intrigued me. Personally, I do not think that this book is worth the time. Honestly, when I read this book, I wasn't that much into romance. I kind of was just warming up to romance. When I was reading it, I kind of felt like it was like a really good romance, but now that I've read more of the romantic genre, I definitely do agree in some sense. The whole love interest and relationship aspect of the book kind of was a little much to me. I was honestly more curious about Verity and everything going on in that sense. But I definitely don't think the book's a waste of your time. It had me on the edge of my seat literally the whole entire time. Oh, we got some Colleen Hoover hate going on. Some people desperately need Jesus and Colleen Hoover is one of them. Okay. I love Colleen Hoover. I know there's a lot of hate going on in the community about her, but I personally love her books and I honestly want to read more of her backlist. Never going to get the brain cells back I lost reading this, am I? I think we're being a little dramatic here, guys. Being a little dramatic. And another one says, I wish I could go back and unread this book. Severe trigger warnings for child abuse to anyone considering this read. I can't believe the high average rating of this book. I felt physically sick multiple times throughout and can't seem to figure out what the point was. Maybe I'm not suited to this genre, whatever it is, but I am completely disgusted. My advice, don't read this book. I do agree with this review to an extent because her manuscript was very detailed and very heartbreaking is the word I'm looking for. I remember I had to take a break after reading a manuscript chapter because it was so much for me to handle, and honestly it was very heartbreaking. It just hurt my heart so much, but I still thought that the book was worth the read and I still am so happy I read it. And the last one I'm gonna review is my favorite book that I've read this year so far. It is Mary Jane. I know that there's a lot of mixed opinions on this book, but I honestly fell in love with it. I want to reread it like 3 times. We're just gonna get into the reviews and hopefully we don't hate on the book too much because it's my favorite book ever. This one says, this book is an example of bad marketing. It has absolutely nothing to do with Daisy Jones and the Six, so I started it with completely different expectations from what I got. But my biggest issue is that it basically had no point or plot to speak of. There is absolutely nothing interesting or intriguing about the story or the slow-paced, tedious life of a teenager and her ridiculous racist parents. I thought that there was a pretty big plot. I was honestly hooked in from the beginning. It was definitely more of like a lighthearted coming-of-age novel. It wasn't really supposed to be like a fast-paced thriller that just goes. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I personally thought that it did have a pretty developed plot and I honestly fell in love with all the characters. Like the little girl from the book is literally my absolute favorite character. Someone said, just barf. Okay. This person said, what's the point of all this? Such a bad book with a terrible writing style and a plot in which literally nothing happens. Again with the plot. Why do we think that there's no plot? It's definitely very character heavy and character driven, but there still is a plot and there's still like a defined plot throughout the book. I don't agree with you, sir. Mr. Nope. Damn. It says, this cover deserved a better book. I really did want to like this, but the style of narration held me back. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, I just don't. This person said, DNF, why did nothing happen? What do you mean nothing happened? Well, obviously you don't know what happened because you DNF'd it. It's hard to read 1-star reviews on this book because this is my all-time favorite book. So I'm obviously not going to agree with everything that these people are saying. I think you guys should all give it a chance. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it, but you never know until you give it a try, right? Anyways, I can't read any more of those reviews because it's literally hurting my heart. But I think those are all the 1-star reviews I will be reading today. My heart kind of hurts, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely feel really sad considering there's a lot of hate going on with some of my favorite books. It was really interesting to see everyone else's opinions because, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, everyone interprets books in a different way, which is always interesting. And just another thing is that these were all my opinions. I understand that not everyone is going to agree with me, and that's completely okay. And you guys don't have to have the same, obviously. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know if you guys want a part 2 for it because I do have some more favorite books I wanted to include in this, but I didn't want this video to be too lengthy. So if you guys want a part 2, please let me know down in the description because I would love to do that. With that being said, I am going to end this video off right here. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn that post bell notification on so you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And with that, I hope you guys are having an amazing, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.